All right, let's start that one all over again. Sorry about that. Everybody, good morning. Today is Thursday, June 11th, and was just trying to go over. I did end up taking a trade yesterday evening at around 8 o'clock Central Time. And as I was explaining, I'm not really a breakout type of trader, but the setup to me just looked pretty easy. This was pretty much very close to the close of the regular session yesterday. You could see these huge market bubbles here, a lot of selling pressure here. And then for one reason or the other, I was on the charts at around 8 o'clock. And then I started to see these bubbles. I started to see these bubbles right here, and I originally correlated them with probably stops that were being triggered here. Okay, I probably assumed that, you know, everybody betting on the shorts probably had some stops sitting like here, here, here. So originally I didn't think much of it because then I saw this down bar here, and I said to myself, okay, well, if we get a continued push to the upside, this is not going to be necessarily just shorts. There's going to be some continuation in this uptrend here, and caught a nice flip on the 60 range to the upside. So I've got a continuation model with my footprints, and I obviously, what you guys see me trade mostly with is my reversal model with the footprint. And caught a ATR was sitting at about 20, I think it was 20, 21, and caught 21 points on this long right here, which was nice. That's why you see the P&L sitting, which is good. Got me back about 2.5 hours from yesterday. So still down for the day yesterday, but obviously in a much better situation currently. All right, so let's take a look at the market for today. What do we got brewing here? All right, so let's start off with some of these key levels that we've got. We've got a new key level at the 29,250, another one at the 29,094. And then we've got a prior key level sitting here at the 29,435. So this is going to be a nice little area of volume sitting right here. Good target for the market. We do have a piece of seller unbalanced volume sitting right here. I say right here, but we don't have a label on it for you guys. That's better. From the 29,019 to the 29,069, and I was able to find a more detailed area on a push to the downside. Once we're done with all the key levels on the 3 indices, we'll come back and we'll kind of take a look at this setup so you guys can see what I see. And then down below, we've got a small piece of buyer unbalanced volume sitting right here in the purple. So let me get this guy for you guys. And that one is sitting between the 28,619 and the 28,595. Another piece of buyer unbalanced volume sitting right here at the 28,509 down to the 28,472. Now this scenario here, this is obviously buyers that are sitting right here. This would be a scenario that I would look for a sweep and go. Okay. We also got another key level below us at the 28,455 and another key level at the 28,409. So currently that's the NQ. We've got a pretty big distance to the downside before we come into this kind of buyer controlled area. Obviously the closest thing to us right now is sitting right up here in this 29,019s to the 069s. So that's the NQ. Let's take a look at the ES here. Joe, good morning. Paul, good morning. Todd, good morning. All right, let's take a look at the ES. So the ES, first off, we've got a strong seller volume area here at the 74.43 to the 74.14. Prior key level at the 74.12. New key level at the 74.04, yesterday's high. Another key level at the 73.80. Below us, we've got 3 key levels at the 72.67, the 72.59, and the 72.55. And a prior key level here at the 72.25. Gold, we had a nice reaction. I think I deleted it when I was doing my updates from today. But gave you guys that updated band yesterday during the session. That one actually ended up being a nice reversal from there. Currently, what I see in gold, we've got sellers sitting here at the 42.45 to the 42.32. And then we've got buyers. Oh, that's it. I don't have a buyer. I don't have any buyer area down below us, so it's just that selling band above us. So that's gold. All right, so now we'll kind of take a look at, we'll start off with the bottom band first, just to kind of, so if we take a look at the 28, let's see. Come down just a bit there. Okay. So if we take a look and see, obviously you guys know kind of my coloring scheme, hopefully by now. Gold is the 120 range. Purple is the 60 range footprint. So if we start off with the 120, we'll kind of go and see where the origination of this purple band kind of sits. Nope. Right here. Okay, looks pretty familiar pattern. So we've got a nice big impulsive move out of here. Do like the spacing here. I didn't like the spacing so much on the 120. That's why you don't see any gold. But you'll see now, so like this would be my unbalanced volume area sitting right here. If we were to put our fixed volume profile tool, these would be some of the targets right here. Kind of a small target here on the value area low. So we see where the gold is sitting at. And then now we'll kind of drop down to the 60. Go back to that same area, which is sitting right here. So you could say, Rob, okay, well, you know, what don't you like here? Well, we could see that we had a base here on the 60. What did we do? We came back and we retested volume down here. Okay, and then we made the push back up. So how I see this, the volume currently that's unbalanced is sitting right here. Not a ton of it, so this is not going to be a huge move because they balanced out this top right here. But this is still good. Could be good for a 20 to 30 point scalp. Depending on where we enter in from. So that's that one. And then if we switch over to the one on the top side, which is this guy right here, we'll kind of do the same thing. Okay, so we'll start on the 120 footprint, and we'll kind of scroll back to when we visit this area. Did I miss it? I don't think I did. I didn't know. Let me just see where. Feels like I missed it. This is the 29. Oh, this is 28. Okay, no, so we still got one ways to go. Sorry. Not there, not there. That's the one we were just talking about. That's why it confused me. All right, here we go. So again, if we come back into look at our, here's our classic AVT setup, right? We've got a nice downwards move. I love the spacing here in between these candles. This is impulsive in nature. If I look at the unbalanced volume sitting on the 120, it's sitting obviously right here. And how I kind of created this, well, it doesn't look gold right now, but it is purple. But based on, I guess when you mix purple and gold, you get this kind of ugly salmon kind of color. So let's see where this came from. So if I jump down to the 60, this is going to probably take a while to get to, but it should be right around here, I believe. I do believe. Yep. So let's take this guy off so make it a little clear. All right. So this is that same area, okay? It's the same area that we were just looking at the 120 range. And then how I like to kind of define my areas for my scalps and for the trades that you guys see me take here every morning. I'm trying to find the most unbalanced area, so and try to go as detailed as I possibly can to capture something on the 30 range, which is my ultimate goal. And as you guys can see here, nice little impulsive move. The only little issue with this guy here, which is why I didn't put this in my signal group, is that we've got this this kind of balanced out volume. You can almost see the footprint. You can almost see the candlestick: solid, 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 not so solid, not so solid right here. And it's not necessarily a huge requirement is for it to be a full body candle. But what I'd really like to see is I'd like to see this top of this footprint be somewhere down here. Okay. Like that to me is impulsive in nature. This to me kind of balance out volume to continue the move. And that's just the way that I personally see the market. And I actually rewatched the rewatched the entire stream from yesterday. Mainly fast forwarding to the trades that I took. Man, we really got almost every single reaction point right. The trade yesterday was just one of those days where you're like 1 to 3 points short on the NQ could have created a scenario where yesterday could have been at least a 4K day. And it was, I kind of didn't feel like when I left, I felt good about the trades. I felt good about the losses. But I honestly didn't know. I didn't feel like it was like super, super close until I kind of rewatched the stream. And I'm like, man, this trade, we adjusted our stop and we got knocked out for, it was like 2 or 3 points. Then, I was even laughing about it on stream, and then I was laughing about it when I was watching it again. I was like, man, that's just really, that was a little unlucky, but it's part of trading. I think in general, if you can see the direction right and you can see the reactionary areas where you should see some movement, if those keep popping up, you're onto something and you're doing something right. So we got 9 minutes here for news. Yeah, it was crazy. Last night's price action, it's been every day. It's, I'm in the camp of really hoping that market kind of normalizes. Oh, and I did end up taking a trade. See, look at this. This is 8 minutes before news. I mean, that's got to be headlines right here. But that was 100. That's a 100-point. That's a 100-point candle. This is going to end up being a 100-point candle. So the ATR already is just completely blowing up. It's going to blow up. We've been sitting at 16, which is still high for the pre-market. And now with this type of movement, I don't necessarily know what movement that was, but I don't see anything coming in yet on my news service. Trump, the U.S. will be hitting Iran very hard tonight. There you go. There you go. And we're about 120 points on this candle, which again is going to throw off the entire ATR. U.S. will be hitting Iran. U.S. will be taking oil infrastructure points. Oh, geez. Trump, we will be taking Karga Island at some point soon. Trump, we will assume total control of Iran oil and gas markets. Holy fuck. Holy shit. Now let's take a look at oil. Let's just see what oil's doing. Oil's gotta be, I was gonna say oil's gotta be ripping. This is crazy. We did tap in last night into our ES weekly band. I just move up, man. And as you guys can see, I don't know if anybody was taking a look at that, but that was a very nice movement. And, you know, another thing I was thinking about, you know, I really had not had any signals from my signal group on my scalps. You know, we had one this week that I invalidated before we even tapped into it. It's very difficult to be trading with an 8-point stop loss, which is what my typical signal is on the NQ on my signal service. It's very difficult to be trading with an 8-point stop loss with a limit order. Okay, so a limit order on an entry, limit order with your stop loss. I'm trading with 8 to 10 points of stop, as you guys see every day, but I'm using a confirmation model that helps me get into these trades at a much smaller risk. So, you know, the signals have been extremely quiet for June, even the last month. I mean, it's just signal quality was really good last month. I think we ended off 75% hit rate. And I think every single signal went for TP1 and TP2, which again was great. Actually, before I say that, I believe I'm right on that. We didn't have a ton of invalidation signals last month as well. I think maybe just a handful of them. Let's see here. Let's see, where are we at? Performance stats. So, I mean, the quantity was extremely low. 3, 6, 8 signals. I mean, I think that's the lowest since I've started the signals group. But TP1, TP2, TP1, TP2, TP1, TP2, they were every single one was TP1 and TP2. 100% hit rate on the ES, and one loss and 4 winners on the NQ. But this month has been just dry as a bone, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't provide a signal with 8-point stop when you've got market volatility like what we've been seeing. So it's tough. It's been a challenge in almost every regard, but so And I do have some new weekly bands. So Sunday is going to be a great video. But you guys have seen, I mean, I've seen, I think it might have been either Todd or Tiger. I can't remember who took the trade off the NQ weekly band. But the weekly bands right now are the strongest because the fact that they are, they're further away apart from each other, obviously. And it's a bigger zone of unbalanced volume. This is the exact same. What you see here is exactly what I'm doing on the AVT, how I find my scalps, but this is just the bigger reactionary points. And you know, like I say, on these weekly bands, this should be a 2-to-1 risk to reward every single time. Sometimes, obviously, it will get you even more. I don't know. Let's see what this one will look like. You know, huge stop, so you got to be positioned correctly. This is on the ES. If we go to 1 to 2, it's right there. I probably would have targeted right back to that key level. But yeah, I mean, that's 82 points on the ES. These obviously don't come around more. I mean, between the ES and the NQ, you might get 4 or 5 trades per week on the weekly bands. Now we're seeing more hit because of the volatility that we've been seeing. But everything's a trading opportunity. The levels that I provide in Discord every single morning, those are a trading opportunity. I mean, if you go into Rob's levels, every day they're all mapped out for you. So everything you see on my screen, minus the current price action, obviously, they're on there. And oh, that was the ES one that I just posted. But like for today, these are the levels. These are the bands that I have on the NQ. These are my daily bands. These are the ones that I typically am scalping off of. And now the only thing that that's missing now is some key levels. You know, probably could have put a key level right here, actually. That was kind of stupid that I missed that one. I think what I was kind of looking at was, let's go to the NQ for the today's levels. So I think why I missed this one was I was really looking at break of structure right here. This is where I would have liked to see the break of structure on this impulsive move, which is why I didn't put a 15-minute level sitting right here, is where my 15-minute level would have been sitting. You did break some mini structure right here. So like if you're doing these every morning, which you should be, if you're doing this every morning, you know, if you put a level right here, you're not wrong. In fact, we'll keep it and we'll see what kind of reaction we get here. 28,606 would be my 15-minute level. Okay, so I go from the 15 to the 5. And but like as you can see right here, we didn't have a level inside of the band. Again, I would have preferred to see the break of structure on this move right here, which I would say break structure right here, and it didn't. And it actually retraced pretty strong, so I knew that there were some sellers sitting right here. I should put an S. So that's why I couldn't really mark this off as a level here as well. Up here, no level. And then what I do is when I don't find a level on the 15, I'll jump down to the 5. And I do the same thing. And I'm just teaching you guys things that how I see it in how I teach it in the volume masterclass. It's the same, it's the exact same concept. And this is the exact same concept that we're trading. Let's get Discord out of the way. Get rid of him. What you guys see here on these types of scenarios right here. English, if you could just look in my description of my of this video on YouTube or any of my videos, you'll see a link to my Discord. So ATR now artificially is up to like 34 points, but this our ATR is really affected by this candle right here, which was that news candle that came out. Let's see what our employment news kind of came in at. Not employment news, CPI numbers, PPI numbers. So PPI came in at 4.9. It was expected 5.4. U.S. jobless claims came in higher than expected. So again, that's pretty good news for interest rates. Not so good news, obviously, for the job market. But I think that's actually kind of a welcome thing, more on from the Fed. So now we've got this band that we're kind of approaching here. I'm a little skeptical on this band just with the news that we just had. I'd like to see, okay, we are starting to see somewhat of a bounce here. And so again, I just don't want to be sitting in front of a freight train to the downside. So J-Loves, that was a trade I actually ended up taking last night at around 8 o'clock. Kind of gave everybody my thoughts on that trade. So it was around 8:30 right here. It was kind of a breakout trade, which I'm not really a big breakout trader. But what I was looking at, and I just happened to be on the chart for some reason, I don't even actually know why, around 8 o'clock. And this was pretty much very close to the regular session close here. As you can see, we had a really strong push to the downside with a lot of volume sitting right here. So when we first approached this area and we kind of tapped into this area right here, which is right here, at first I kind of asserted that these two bubbles were probably stops being triggered. Well, I know that there were stops being triggered from this downward moves to the downside here. And then I started to see this down candle here. If I can bring this up a little bit. You can see this down candle here. And I said, okay, so if we're going to reverse, we're probably going to reverse right here. And then I saw the next candle overtake this candle. I said, okay, then well, they can't just be a swipe of stops and a reversal, and it didn't look to me like a reversal anymore. And then as we got this next candle right up here, we got strong volume coming in. So if these were stops and now volume is strongly coming in, that to me sounds like a, you know, kind of a breakout move to the upside. And I did hop in right here. ATR was sitting at around 21 points at that time. So that's pretty much exactly what I took out of the market. So that was last night. So overall, Yesterday, I think I was down about 1,000, so I was down about an hour, 1 hour for the day. Even with the positive P&L that you're seeing right now. This is what the month is currently looking like. So we were able to, this is still sitting above 2. Yesterday was at about 2.7, but again, took about 3 losses yesterday. So, and super close losses too. I mean, those were pretty damn close to being wins. Did take a losing day yesterday, so this was sitting at about 70% yesterday. Now it's around 72. Win rate slightly up, as I did take those 2 small trades yesterday for some wins. And this is what the P&L is looking for the month. And again, these are just all of my PA accounts and my Tradeify and my Lucid funded accounts. It's the only thing that you're seeing there. And if we look back at this area, where they actually ended up bouncing is on the, would have been on the golden area, which was at 120 range. So again, if we just kind of take a look at it, and where this move originated from on this flip. Here you go. So your 120 range was sitting right here. Actually, they just missed that, actually, now that I'm looking at it. They just missed this unbalanced volume area. So they could come right back down here and sweep this here. But, you know, in this increased volatility, you know, you could say to yourself, okay, I'm just going to strictly stick to the 120 or the 60 range flips. You know, that's always a great idea. When volatility is super high, I'm still trying to capture on the 30 and 60. But like yesterday, I ended up taking a trade. Let me see if I can, let's see if I can pull this up here. I showed this setup to my Signal members yesterday. Where was it at? Let's trades right here. So this is a setup, NQ setup this afternoon. Wanted to post this trade setup I looked at this afternoon. I provide the NQ 2-minute chart for a reference on why I wanted to take this trade. So you guys can see my purple area that I marked up. You know, same thing that we're always looking for. So a strong base, impulsive move to the upside. You can't see it here, but structure was broken. I don't actually know where the structure was broken because I can't see the full chart here, but structure was broken. And then I ended up, I'll show you guys the entry. And then here was my entry. Waited for price action to come into this purple area. Did not get the flip, so there was no flip, no entry here. We then came back into our purple area right here. Did get the flip. There's -7, positive footprint, and ended up taking a long there. But the one thing that the reason why I bring this trade up was in the afternoon, it was just much easier to get an entry in. The entry was, it was just so much more slower, even on the 30 range. Those trades were taken in on the, was it 30? It was the 60. No, it was the 30. I think it was the 30, right? Yeah. I'm gonna go back in here and take a look just to make sure that I'm not. No, actually it was on the 60 range. So I take that back. It was on the 60 range. I swear I thought it was on the 30, but it wasn't. Maybe that's why it seemed slower to me. Morning, Latino 9821. Good morning, my man. So big headline here that came out with Trump talking about Iran taking over their oil and natural resources, taking over Kharg Island, telling them that they're going to hit them hard tonight. So we had about 180 point move to the downside in one 2-minute candle here, which has obviously affected ATR. We're currently now hovering at 40, which seems to be the theme. And another thing too that I haven't really talked about much is, you know, when we are in extreme volatility like this, where you get these 180 point moves, ATRs in the on the 5-minute range, you know, hovering over 150 to 200 points, which is 4 times the average ATR. You're going to have huge moves, okay? And typically these huge moves are on very little volume. So there's actually, you would think the opposite. You would think, okay, a big move like that's created by a lot of volume. Well, really the volume kicks in. You can see the volume start to kick in here, okay, when market starts to kind of become a little bit more efficient. But like on this move here to this downside here, there was nothing here. There's going to be all mainly zero prints because the market makers get out. They're not efficient in that type of price action. And when you start getting chunks of this everywhere on the chart, as a volume-based trader, you don't really know what's true volume and what's not true volume. Like what's some of the moves that are, so that's why if you can kind of track where headlines, where high impact news, where those things originate from, and you can kind of make a mental note to say, okay, even though the setup here looks great, strong impulsive move, I would assume break of structure somewhere, break of structure right here, break of structure right here. You know, it has all of the blueprints that we're looking for. But again, this was a headline news and maybe something that's, you know, the market's not going to, wasn't really based on a lot of volume from the initial footprint of the move, if that makes any sense.
Morning, Rob, William, Keith, Steve. Morning, Tyke. Anybody watch that NBA game last night? The final game? I didn't watch the game, but just watching the final shot there for the winner. That's crazy. What a heads-up play. Yeah, I checked in. I think I don't remember what quarter it was. They were up so big. I'm like, all right, they've got this, and they didn't.
All right, what do we got brewing here? If we take a look here on the 120, do got a small little area right here. And let's see what that kind of originates. So it's before the news headline. The news headline came out it was somewhere right around, actually 16, 17. I thought it came out at like 7:15? So no, that could be. Where did my news service go? Let's see what time that came out at. Yeah, no, that was later on. No, hold on. 7:24, 7:22. 7:22. Yeah, I thought it was this candle right here. So that's part of that movement. Nothing to see here. And it's a perfect example of how sometimes you'll just be taking a look at the footprint and you kind of get lost in sometimes the beauty of the moves, because it's exactly what you're looking for, but if you put it into context, it's not what I'm looking for based on those headlines that came out. So if we do take over Iran's Karg Island, I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that word, Karg Island. I mean, how are we going to defend that? You're going to be in an area where you get struck from every which angle. It's going to be nutty. That's going to be the next week of headlines that we're going to be dealing with now. Yeah. I gotta agree with you there, Rob. That's gonna become tricky. Morning, Holly Earth. Morning, FTDK. Well, besides this headline dump to the downside, not really much here to do pre-session. We got 12 minutes here for market open. We don't got much going on here this morning. All right, I'm gonna go refill my coffee. All right, started a quick poll here. What do you guys think on the NQ this morning? You think which one do we hit first, the 29 200s or the 28 300s? Let me know what you guys think based on what I see. We've tapped. I don't know. I'm gonna probably take the. I'm gonna take probably the least favorite. I think we hit the 28 300s here today this morning before we hit to the upside. So this would be my area. Over the 29 200s, which is sitting right here. So this would be, we'll see what the chat comes up with. '28s. Okay, so a bunch of people at the 28s. Well, you got 2 minutes because all right, finally we get a taker at the 29 200s. We'll see if we can. We'll see if these adjust here in the next minute. If you're looking at price action, strictly speaking, you've, we obviously created some lower highs over here, lower highs, lower lows, but now recently we've been in an definitely in a mini uptrend here. And then to confuse everybody else, we had the headline news that came out at about 7 a.m. So it's pretty mixed. Seems like a pretty decent spot, like right around here for a point of control, fair value, probably somewhere right there. If we were to draw one out from here, from this price action, let's see. Pretty close. Pretty close. All right, market is officially open. So I'll end the poll here. Most people were at the 28,300. So as of right now, everybody's thinking that we're going to have some bearish price action. The downside here. We'll see what happens. We shall see. We shall see. All right, let's see what do I want to do here. What does the market want to do? All right, ATR is sitting at 37. I mean, as of right now, the bulls are controlling this area right here. But they also can't get past this pressure right here. We're kind of stuck here still at that point of control that we were just talking about. And still 100-point candles. And I think I'm going to skip on this reactionary zone here, because I think if the bears do finally overtake this area here, they should have at least a strong little push afterwards. So for me, not the greatest little setup. Of course, I say that, and it's going to be the perfect 30 flip. All right, ATR is creeping up there to 45. Should probably hit 60 here within maybe another candle. Even though this one I believe was, this is only about a 30-point candle here. Oh no. No, it's more like 60. Yeah, we should be hitting the 60s pretty soon. Yeah. And we're just going into resistance here, right here. Well, let's see if they can bust through here or not. Well, so far, the bears right here have done a pretty good job of holding this market down. And you can see that the buyers are definitely trying. And the bears can't push much beyond here, so it's a pretty nice tug of war. Okay, strong movement there. Yeah, they're breaking through here now, so let's see if they can... Yeah, this looks like a pretty good now push to the upside here. You can see where the bulls stepped in, sellers stepped in, they got absorbed, or actually they got trapped here. All right, got a headline. The UAE and Iran are said to have met face to face to ease tensions. All right, a lot of headlines coming in now. There should see a continuation here then. For the UAE, stability is important to protect its wider economic agenda, including major investment plans in oil production and AI data centers. For Iran, the relationship also carries real economic value since the UAE have been one of its largest trading partners before the war and an important channel for sanctioned oil flows. All right. ATR's creeping up to 60 almost here. Well, looks like we're losing that. Looks like we're losing that pole. Right now, only area I'm really looking at right here is the 29031s to the 048s. Even though we do have, let's see how this looks here. This is on the 120 right there. That's the 60 for a quick pop here. It's junk. Don't need to do anything there. And the only other thing I see right here is this base. And we go to the 60. Everything is pretty much right there. Even though by that, this could be sweepy here too, though. Could want to sweep that. Jeff, I'm on Ninja Trader. Last piece of news that I have is that UAE and Iran set to they have met face to face to try to ease tension. My signal group says administration talking back Trump's Karg Island invasion to some extent, calling it an endgame. Let me just see what's brewing right here. I don't love this. I don't love it. I don't love it. This is where I see maybe possibly a reaction here, but I don't love it yet. So Jeff asked, have you ever had an issue with data not up to speed? My candles were 20 points behind TradingView and I only load 2 days on charts. What type of data feed are you putting into TradingView? What do you have connected to it? If you've got a broker connected to it, it should be real time. Oh, man, I missed that one there. That was a good flipper. That was a good flipper right there. Let's see if this holds out. Wasn't the greatest. Okay. This is fucking hard, man. This is hard, hard, hard. Who said trading was easy? Alright, looks like... Looks like the Bulls still want to play here. This is kind of forming for a higher high here. I feel like I'm kind of fighting. No flip there. Can't do it. I just don't have the gumption here. Let's take this guy out. Let's just see how they... I mean, they reacted right off of our zone. Again, just really hard to take a... ATR's at 73. Morning, Nate. Schwab's been delayed 6 minutes. That's insane. Morning, Chum Sauce. Trading is not easy. You compete against the most brilliant minds and wealthy people in the world. I agree. But we could also be one of the brilliant minds in the world. I think collectively as a group, we are very strong. We got built-in algos sitting right above our eyes. Let's see if the 120 flipped. Did the 120 flip? Did not. Ooh, a lot of negative delta though. Strong, strong, strong push. Hard to go against. Hard to go against the bulls there. All right, well. So, and the crazy part is that, like, we're getting what I would consider to be like a good setup. We're getting like, you could find like 10, 15 of them a day. Where in a typical market, man, if I can find 2 that I really, really like, it's great. But then that also, when you've got so many, it's also lowering the quality of the really good ones. You really gotta factor in where the volume is currently sitting at. I mean, I would say our best bet right now is this zone right here. And as I say that, I need to pop this guy in. Let's move this here. Man, I gotta use the washroom too. Hold on one second. Oh man, I gotta use the washroom so bad. Contacts. Alright guys, give me 1 second, I use the washroom. got brewing here? We've definitely got an area right here. So I kind of refine this guy here. Let's see if I can do him on the other chart so I can look at this one at the same time. Doesn't look that great, actually. All right, let's go. Let's jump into the 30. All right, so I'm looking for a long here out of this 28,829 area. ATR is at 74, geez. Oh, was that the move? Right. That was a big flip right there. After price action, here we go. Huh. Late on the draw on that one. Let's see, were these all flips here? Yes. Fuck. Oh, I missed that one. I missed that one, guys. Damn bathroom. This is this is looking pretty dumpy here, huh? I mean, that I think should have been a stronger reversal than that. I do too. I got that same kind of feeling. Probably should have been looking here. Nice flip there. Okay, nothing there that I like. flip again. I'm gonna take a long here. Okay. Let's bring this guy down. Don't knock me out here. Don't knock me out here. All right, 15 points to stop there. Come on. Come on. These just moves are not, they're not sustainable here. Did get my flip, but it's just not the right environment. And I'm more mad that I gave up 15 points. Not happy. First trade seems to be my hardest fucking trade every morning. Yeah, that's kind of been my issue too with the stops here. It's like it's almost more conducive to trade a little bit later in the morning right now. I mean, this is, you talk about trailing. I mean, every move is still getting countered. Every single move. There's just not really much continuation. I mean, there's continuation on these bigger moves, but it's 250 points collectively. Damn. I mean, $10 on a micro. That's 5 points. I mean, that's, you gotta have a, you gotta have at least a 10-point stop, I would assume. That's tough. That's a tough proposition in this market too. I mean, even what I'm trying to accomplish. Again, it only takes one good one to get the job done for the day. Like even these little mini, extremes. So right now, if we take a look at this guy, we just kind of stay in this immediate downtrend. The 60 is just not going to look good either. I can already tell. This is all balanced out. You know, the only area that they left is right here. And that's... this is the only place that I see right here. Again, this is not... this has all been... let's see. Let's see how it approaches here. Do. Oh boy. Oh boy. Instant stop. Instant stop. can't do this like this. We gotta let this slow down just a bit. We cannot keep giving away free money here. It's weird. Half my group didn't even get triggered on that trade. So I guess that was kind of half of a win. This is tough, boys. This is tough. I mean, the moves we can see. It's just... Let's see what the hell... There's only liquidity at the pivots. It's the only spot that you see any type of liquidity. Maybe we should be playing the ES right now. That was a nice flip right there on the ES at that zone that I marked off. That was clean. So you're saying we should be looking more at the ES a little bit? This looks like trash everywhere besides right here. I found that zone really well. Of course, I couldn't do anything with it. See what kind of even targets I have here that look realistic. All right, looking for a long here. Nope. Not much to do right here. I don't know. I can't see anything that looks. I don't see anything that looks fantastic. You know, the only area that I see right here is going to be this guy sitting right here. And even the 60 range here doesn't look very good. They're just way too quick to rebalance everything. Just making me dizzy. All right, guys, I'm gonna walk away for a couple of minutes. Well, to me, this all looks really dumpy. I'm not seeing any strength by buyers. I'm gonna take a short. I don't know, I just got this feeling in my bones. But I want to increase this stop. I mean, this take profit. Come on down, we should get a pretty wicked move, I would think. Let's go. Have some gumption here. Let's see if we can get something out of this. All right, I'm gonna take it right there. Closed out. $32 points. And I was going to keep it to the IB. I'll be perfectly honest, but I just don't trust the pullbacks here. Morgan, I don't really know what the fuck that was, to be honest with you. if you want me to be 100% honest with you, this is the only thing I saw. Was if you look at the 60, I put it smack in this consolidation area with this drop to the downside, and I just waited for it to come back into this area. I mean, it's hard to keep waiting for these bigger like 120 60 setups, and to me everything just felt short at that point. I didn't see any strength by buyers here. Got my flip, which was a good flip, 40 delta, red footprint, got a good entry. So, no, I'm sorry, it was not a real AVT setup, but I mean, I can make it into an AVT setup very easily right here. You know, this is your value area high. I mean, this is easy to come up with this, but this is on the 60. I mean, I like taking mine from the 120. So, no, it was not. And I wasn't even watching that. Of course you did it. Of course you did it. Of course you did it absolutely perfectly. Of course you did it. With no drawdown either. You son of a little bastard. You son of a little bastard. Yeah, but it's tough when you've got a good setup. I don't know. Again, it's kind of tough to take a long here too. It's tough to take a long in this area right now. This is just fucking hard. It's fucking hard. And to be honest with you, I think I'm perfectly happy walking away right now. I have this feeling in my chest that I don't like. So this is what this looks like with today's trades right here. We gave back Well, we didn't really get back any. No, we made some money today because we were at 80. I think we're at 8,500. Okay. So not bad. We're about halfway to our 20K goal. And then a little less than 2 weeks of trading. So I can't be too upset with myself. But I just don't like the I don't like the feeling that I have right now, to be honest with you. I don't know how to explain it. Just trying to be as transparent as I can. I don't really... I feel jittery. I feel very jittery. And then next week, I know we're going into futures rollover. So I don't really have super high expectations with that. I hope they are. Yeah, I got nothing moving. Hey, you just gave me a little mini heart attack there. There's just one anomaly that I see. I'm trying to find which one it was. I have a feeling it was this one. I think half of my accounts didn't get filled on this trade here. It was kind of strange because half my accounts were down like, I think it was like $40 each. And then the other half were all up like $40. That's when I was like negative 200 and something bucks. I don't understand that trade too much because this trade should have taken all my accounts to negative like $40. So I don't really know what happened there with this exact trade. I know this one was a little impulsive. And this is the starting of the the starting of my bad feelings, to be honest with you. All right, guys, I know it's probably an early end to the stream, but I feel like I got to walk away from the charts. I don't know why. I haven't had this feeling in a long time, but I got like the jitters and just something's not kosher with the charts for me. So stay patient. I know it's hard for me to say it because I feel like I was starting to kind of lose some patience there as well. But I want to say that I think it's going to get easier, but I think it's going to get harder, to be honest with you. maybe next week. Then we got the IPO for SpaceX tomorrow, so I guess that's going to be a whole other scenario that we got to contend with. But stay patient as you can. And again, if you're treading water or green for the day, it's typically a good sign for market volatility like we're in right now. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Cash Profit Friday, I guess, tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting one. It'll be a real interesting one. All right, guys, take care.